Well, who knows?
All right, we're up to our second starting 2-0 of the day. It didn't end up being a 3-0 though. Ace versus Blaze. Ace pulled back in game 3 with the Valera pick. It's a little bit crazy, a little bit outside of the box with that pick against the double mobility heroes, the Tracer and the Zeratul. We'll see if Miracle can do something equally creative or play standard, surprise us, take a third game. You and I have our money on Sky Temple being the map pick here for KSV Black. We'll see if that ends up being the case.
Of course, not actual money. Just predicting what the next map is going to be.
Jacob, it's okay. We did make a bet with that guy for 40 cents. The producer guy who changes the scenes, we did make a 40-cent bet. Come on, let's be real. There's no money on the line.
No money.
I just thought it was really weird.
Not even a cent.
You were like, no,
like,
actually, there's no money.
Like, no money. No, not even a single cent. I don't want to waste my money.
You put the asterisk at the bottom of the screen. It's like no money was actually involved in this transaction. I'm like, yeah, okay, like it's an expression, all right. I didn't put any money on this. I never have cash in my wallet, man. I only use card. It's a big problem. We have to split bills sometimes, but we're going into
what if they don't take credit?
What if you? Then I'm like, it's 2018, and I look at them and they're like, they make that little noise, and I'm like, it's 2018. I don't know, and they're like,
only cash only. It says on the counter.
Every place that takes cash only has an ATM nearby, so it's okay.
Yep. Okay.
Because otherwise, like in 2018, they're gonna have a lot of problems, aren't they?
Yeah, with lots of payments available now, it's gonna be even worse. Well, let's see, Ken. What's Miracle going to do? Oh,
thank God we didn't really put our money on it, G-Club.
I told you, 40 cents saved.
Battlefield of Eternity will be the map for the potentially last game of 2018 Part 1 of Phase 1 for HGC Korea.
Remember the good old times where back KSV Black had like 6, 7, 9-minute game on this battleground with Sylvanas? Do you think there's a chance tonight?
I mean, no, but that would be cool.
Are you betting? I'm betting my 40 cents on that one.
We saw Sylvanas, I think, twice this season.
Once from Blossom, and I don't know about the other one.
Yeah, it didn't go so well. It went
terrible.
well in the early game, but then it was bad afterwards.
After level 4, no.
So Miracle banned Blaze and they banned Uther. We talked about how we thought a Malfurion ban adjustment would be much better. That does give potentially the ETC Blaze combo away. But if you take Blaze, they leave Blaze open, it works out. It's going to be Hanzo, so Blaze is available. And that means I think we're going to another first pick Blaze here. Genji ban, so...
Was Blaze lock-in? Game 2? I think it's also a good idea to bring Malfurion in your own hand, which KSV Black has been really putting that on top.
There he is. No shocker. Last time this happened, it was Hanzo Malfurion. This time Hanzo's banned, but it will be Garrosh Malfurion. Reminds me of Game 1.
See, picking Garrosh is actually so beneficial for the team. You actually save your second ban card also. If you pick ETC, then you kind of have to use the Garrosh ban card right after, unless the other team takes it. So Miracle right now is thinking, do we really want to pair up with the ETC when they have two great counters against the Power Slide and the Jet Propulsion already?
It's a good point. It's actually a really good point. I like the Garrosh pick more that you put it that way. It's obviously a strong pick in all scenarios, but now that you think about it that way, it's like the ETC pick almost feels foolish here. It's strong on paper, but this is not a strong map for ETC. It's not a strong map for Stage Dive either. I mean, it can work, obviously, but
after watching Game 1 Stage Dive, I don't think it's gonna be. But still,
I go for it.
They're keeping the same duty on the Tracer and ETC again.
They make the adjustment this time. Last time it was Stukov Tracer. They make the adjustment to get ETC. Last time ETC was taken away from them right afterwards in the same rotation. It could still be looking for Stukov, which is why KSV Black is going to highlight this here. Such a fantastic follow-up to all this, and Tracer does tons of damage. Even without Pulse Bomb, obviously she can do a lot. She has unlimited resources there, but she has no mana. She just sit in the lane, firing bullets at those who get stunned. Always going to be an opportunity. Pulse Bomb just is the cherry on top to get those actual kills. There's not really another solid option here in terms of bans against Miracle. The only other comfort pick here was the Malfurion for Jaehyun, which is taken away every single game. This will be the third game Malfurion for KSV Black.
So with that Stukov ban, I think Rhaegar is most likely, unless... Oh, Uther is still available.
Yeah, Uther's still quite strong.
Which pairs up well enough with Tracer and also ETC.
Absolutely. And Blaze can somewhat mitigate the fact that Uther only has solo heals because his bunker can make it so everyone's kind of safe in the bunker during moments where the heal's on cooldown.
Also, you get that armor after the bunker too,
yeah.
So that's going to be a lot more helpful for the entire teammates. That's a Miracle banning here. You don't really...
I think Greymane.
Yeah, that's always a DPS ban that you go for. But are we missing something here other than the Greymane?
It was Garrosh last game, but that was already picked. Or you know, in this particular case. So I think Greymane's the safest ban. Zeratul. That's... Given the scenario in this game, I know we've seen a lot of Zeratul bans. And I don't fully understand them yet because we haven't seen any really successful Zeratul play.
I thought Miracle was about to bring something like Zeratul, a stealth, along with the Tracer, as we had that previously, and it was against Valera once.
I just think that now we're just going to play Greymane again, and we're going to have almost the exact same comp as we had last game.
Yeah, just
They
change.
can pick Greymane, Falstad if they want to. Like, you can really do whatever they want with the Greymane. Grab Tyrael, have Kyocha play that again, and say like, okay, we're safe, old school style.
Yep, and then bring a Liming from Reset, which is a great counter against CTC. Also somewhat okay against Blaze. Of course, a tough time against Tracer, who's going to be looking for that kill from the side onto Liming all the time.
A lot of thought going into this one. Artanis!
Okay, Kyocha coming back on Artanis.
Liming could very likely be played by Reset. Sake gonna be playing the Malfurion, I imagine, in this particular case. So for Miracle, you know, you have potential to get in there and kill Liming with the Tracer. Is there anything else that makes that easier? Zeratul would have been, as you were mentioning, an opportunity to get that kill secured.
It would have been a lot easier because Liming was there was very high chance that KSV Black was going for that Liming on this map, of course. But without that Zeratul, it'll be a little bit tougher for Tracer. So I think they need something else here.
I think
maybe just a Tychus with Grenade for the kill.
Falstad is okay.
Also great against Garrosh to ignore all the armor.
Falstad can get Marksman and Giant Killer and do a number on these tanky heroes, but it's going to be Hammer.
Sergeant Hammer, so this is, we're going back to the
Blossom
old
draft, I guess.
The old Miracle favorites too.
Yeah. There's actually Gluck yesterday, not Blossom, who did this. Well, this is a very
Sergeant
risky,
Hammer or Tracer.
Well, Hammer, but like the problem with this is you've now put yourself against Kyocha's Artanis and Garrosh. Like, in theory, against many different comps, or if the team names or plates are swapped and you feel like you're the better mechanical team and you're always going to be in perfect position, you're always going to be able to outplay them and get into position to make the Hammer get value. I like the idea, but against KSV Black, against Artanis too, an unusual hero who can just swap over terrain, for example.
So we're looking for a richest hero here, but it's hard to get in and dive onto Morales now. The Haka, maybe?
Can just be Greymane also. Yeah, there you go. And I think this is going to be rich on Greymane again. So, theoretically, though, this could be the first game we have Sake and Liming, Greymane being played by Reset, or vice versa, with Artanis being played by Rich. That's also a possibility.
But oftentimes it was Kyocha playing Artanis whenever they KSV Black had Artanis here. So I think we're gonna see that swap again, once again.
I think that this could be Miracle's worst game of the series. This could be further one-sided than Infernal Shrines was. This draft is very risky. KSV Black has all the answers. Swaps, burst damage with Leeming Greymane, race potential. They also have Artanis too for race potential. So much that they can do with swaps, roots, Garrosh. Like, how many times are they ever going to get into position with Coach as Artanis as expected? How many times are they ever going to get into position with the Morales?
I'm thinking
and the tank, like, how many times is that even going to happen? Is that even possible?
I'm thinking of maybe some crazy things happening, but I don't see anything crazy. Launch pit stage dive, not really too effective against what we have here. Leeming, big counter. Sergeant Hammer, a BFG for the burst damage, maybe, but
you're really grasping at straws at that point. I think it probably will be BFG.
With the pulse bomb, I think that's very likely also, but still that may not be enough against what we have onto the other side.
Well, let's see how it pans out. I don't have high hopes for this draft for Miracle against the draft of KSV Black, which is completely standard and normal, with the exception of Artanis, I guess. It's a strong pick for this squad.
Kind of
and
like
Artanis is even strong against this, so yeah.
Kind of like what we had. Oh, that's
great start here from KSV Black. Trying to break this wall down with Morales. Gunza may yet live.
From all the healing from Jaehyun, barely enough.
Tist missed that stun as well. So, still obviously pretty good for Black, using a lot of that energy from Morales and, you know, basically showing that it's possible to, while down in numbers 3v2.
It's supposed to be a huge win for Miracle with the siege comp, but Black, because they have Greymane and so much more damage pushing in, they're winning this race actually. Miracle has to go back now.
Yeah. Like, they're winning the race because of the drop as well. Like, it's a 4v2 versus a 3v1.
They already lost their identity into a minute 30 game here.
I mean, it's just because of the comp that Black has. Like, they can do this. This is a comp that's so good at doing this.
They are going to go forever. H82 cannot really do a thing.
I mean, they're going to have to stop now.
I think they can still continue with the rotation coming down.
But, like, the problem here is that Miracle did no damage to the fort because of that grab earlier. And Garrosh has already proven now twice today that outnumbered because of his ability to toss heroes over the wall. He's just so good at countering this type of play. He beat the Zarya play this way, and now he's beating the, well, it was really a lane swap situation, but yeah, now he's beating the 2v4 with Morales Infinity Sustain with Sergeant Hammer with the same principle, because Gunza got greedy. 2 ETCs today getting greedy in this situation. Gunza survives, but after no kills, Black is pushing ahead massively with a comp that is not designed to do this, but can do this in theory, against the comp that was designed to snowball, as you were saying. I think that's what you meant by saying the identity is lost. It feels like the drafts are swapped in terms of where we are in this game, and now the keep wall is under fire.
Now this may work a little bit better with just Sergeant Hammer, with 4-man defending now of Miracle.
Yeah, Leeming's coming up, nobody else. Even if they get the fort though, which I don't think they will, it's not an ideal situation. Nice dodge here from Judy. Because the keep wall is now damaged, the Immortal fight is going to be very difficult for Miracle against the comp Black, as we were talking about. They struggled in lane. Can they get one setup this game where Sergeant Hammer is doing a lot on the Immortals where I can say, oh, okay, I get it now. I'm waiting for that moment.
Black got massive lead in the damage as they had better initial positioning onto this Immortal, and they have the poke, so they can be outranged from that siege mode and still do damage onto that Immortal.
This was an old strategy, like you were saying when you said old school. Like, this was the go-to in Hero League on the Korean server when this map was released. Everyone was playing Hammer. They're going to use Hammer defensively here, trunk out as much damage as possible. Here comes the flank, though, from Tist. Rich does get stunned here. He's actually not able to do a whole lot of damage. He goes down, and a lot of extra damage coming through here now on the side of Miracle. It's a double kill. And Judy's just happily chucking away here. This is a haphazard engage on the side of KSV Black. Tist was in good position, but Rich went too deep and ate all that damage. So now Miracle controls this phase for now. Obviously, short respawn timers coming through, so they're coming back, and they will almost certainly, KSV Black will almost certainly still win the Immortal.
Judy's the bait from Miracle. They're keeping Judy right under the Immortal, just in case the Immortal helps the spins or the stuns. Can actually help them burst here with Hold On as Rich is going in for the burst.
Ooh, they barely win it. 596.
KSV wins the first one, but that was very close, of course.
Can they get some picks here, though? Stun coming up onto HGC. He just barely gets that slide out.
Morales putting maximum healing onto Sergeant Hammer. And they also have CCs, so just in case Rich comes into Morales, they have ETC and Blaze to defend.
A lot of siege on both sides here. Judy can help defend with this hammer. He does get stunned by the Immortal there after the Earthbreaker, or Groundbreaker. And we're going to have the push continue here. Li Ming's just doing so much. Actually, instead of working on the structures, now just trying to poke the back line here. Judy in a good siege spot. Realistically, now twice been able to be in spots where the hammer gets value. This is one of those times. Swap though, max range!
Onto Judy, even the Immortal does not hit, but
reset.
CC.
Reset, gets a second reset here, and is just going to use that ability cooldown to get the wall dead.
That was almost too easy of a swap from Gyocha, just straight in.
And right before the words come out of my mouth that the position is good for Hammer, and Hammer is able to get value. If he stays unsieged for just a few extra seconds, swap comes through at max range, and that's how they get you, man, with this comp. 2 heroes dead on the side of Miracle.
The only thing that Sergeant Hammer has to be careful of was that swap. And he gets swapped once, and basically most of their damage is removed. They do have Tracer, but their siege potential, how they can fight in the stationary place, has been lost. 2 levels apart, because not just because of that, but they were able to push a little more into it.
Looks like Miracle just wants to try to force a fight before 10 somehow. They're hell-bent on doing something crazy here. They see Rich super far away in the top lane, so that's where they're going to make their move. Rich is coming back, though, and they don't have the damage to clear this fast enough. I think this is actually a bad idea.
Artan is still pretty far away, I think.
10's almost ready.
They're waiting for that 10 moment, with Artan soaking from the bot.
Okay. Are they going to commit with 10? Swap. Oh my god, the angle on that one. Judy's going to get away with with Morales' help. Here's the silence, though, with 10, and Blaze is down. Our other's going to get away. The grenade's going to help here. Jaehyun helps them get out of there. Rich pushed this wave super hard. Just going to force Sniper to come up. 10 seconds before the Immortals are ready. It looks like KSB wants more. They could actually swap Judy over the wall if they get vision. Just going to steal this camp here.
Sniper is the target. Recalls just in time.
Very close call. So camp stolen. They still have that 10 advantage, even though they used the heroics early. They're going to have them off cooldown and available again before Miracle has 10. Not to mention the 2-level scaling advantage. Okay, H82 leading the charge here, trying to find a way to get a multi-stun to set up a team fight win, but it's just so unlikely. Gyocha, meanwhile, doing so much. Oh, okay, there's another root follow-up. They're just seeing such good roots tonight from Sake. Resets for reset. Pulse Bomb totally whiffs here. Gyocha's on the chase. Can he swap a Tracer again? Can he do it? Does he need to? Is the bigger question, perhaps. There we go. Rotates in. Morales is dead. Tracer's down. This is probably game. I think this was a pipe dream to make this Sergeant Hammer Morales comp work against the draft of MVP Black. They took a risk, and sometimes risk paid off. This is not one of those times.
They were not even close to level 10, but they had to risk it because they were losing. They were supposed to win the first beginning of the game, and then late game they will lose that strength, but still, they were supposed to lead with that kind of comp, but they took Raymond, they took Li Ming with Artanis even. So they were winning that push big time from the beginning of the game. I think their distribution of resources, how they had Blaze only at the bottom, really hurt them big time from the beginning. And KSV Black is winning
Just having a better understanding of the matchups for who can push faster. Artanis is an incredible pusher, more than Hammer. Hammer can push quickly and has a high attack speed, and she's very good at doing all that siege damage, tops the charts, because she can do it at range safely. And that's why she's so strong, because you can do it. You can push a lane safely.
Miracle's not even coming back. This is gonna be game.
Yeah, but Hammer can push.
Coming back for 10.
Hammer can push safely, like I was saying, but you know, in the situation like we had earlier, there was enough to slow the Hammer down. Artanis does more.
So much shield, only 9 minutes in, but still.
Yeah, they come home, they have 10. Can this be the fight?
The perfect mosh pit with perfect BFG and everything into one team fight here.
Okay, swap here
nice
with the cleanse, so
nice.
Kyocha goes into the danger zone.
Onto Siege Tank. Nice bunker for the defensive move here. As
Pulse Bomb's going to kill Kyocha, but I don't know if it's going to matter. HA2's dead. There's the burst coming through from Hammer. It's not enough. Silence means Tracer can't blink. Resets for reset, as we always say, and KSV Black is going to take the series 3-0 here. Not even... Honestly, I was really harping on that point with Hammer versus Artanis' speed of clear. Because you were exactly right, that was the turning point in the game, or really the start of the loss, where you're supposed to be winning with the Hammer early game, but you're losing the race. And the lack of understanding there was a problem. But this game wasn't even a game. It wasn't even a contest. It wasn't even close. And between teams of this caliber, you don't normally see games that are that one-sided, but it was a compositional problem. It was a draft choice. And KSV Black just simply outclassed them. Like, in a moment where you lose the early game that hard, we've seen it so many times this week especially, and also 2 weeks ago right before Lunar New Year with the Zarya picks that have started to surface. When you lose that early game, the game is over sometimes within 4 minutes unless you can make a miracle happen or the other team massively misplays. And when you're talking about a team like KSV Black, they're not going to make those misplays. So I feel like after level 10 was reached, we saw that, you know, attempted 8 versus 10, I felt like we were just watching like the epilogue of the story, you know, like, and then like they pushed the core and they won the game and they were waiting top lane to try to get 10, but they were never going to win that game after everything occurred in the early game with the lane swaps and then the fight they had to take, as you said, at 8 versus 10. You know, you're fighting with like one hand tied behind your back, and also the one hand you do have has like 2 fingers
and then
missing.
the other leg, and then basically you're playing twist on BOE.
Yeah, and like one of your the only leg that you have is like barefoot for some reason. Well, you're fighting on lava. It's like not a good time.
Well, Miracle, they're having lots of issues, and they're position swaps somewhat better, I think, from before. But the real question, the real problem, I think, is the drafting and also the shot calling. We saw that terrible call on Towers of Doom, them going for the boss.
Yeah.
And because they went for the boss, they were late for the altar, and then they lost the game. And they didn't give up, of course, but that shot call was way too late. We see those kind of miscalls often, and this kind of wrong distribution in the game from the beginning. It really, what they banned, what they grabbed together as a team comp, didn't really show at all into the game because of those kind of shot calling.
Miracles has had this problem since 2017, really, where they haven't ever been able to form an identity as a team. They had so many position swaps. They had player swaps, like Konkonodami leaving the team, for example, Judy coming in, then Crazy moving, switching roles a few times, then he's out of the team, new roster comes in for 2018. Never able to form an identity, always swapping between roles, always trying to do 3 different types of drafts in one best of 5 where there's no theme and it's not map-based. Everyone's had that friend who's like, yo, I'm going to do karate, and they quit after 2 weeks. They're like, now I'm going to learn guitar, and they quit after 2 weeks, and they're like, you know, I was thinking I'm going to study Chinese, and like, they find out it's hard, and they're like, well, maybe I can learn German, and then they start thinking, I'm actually going to be a skateboarder, maybe I'll do rollerblades.
And then he's 80.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Miracle, I'm like, you need to find identity, you need to pick a play style, and you need to stick with it. You know, Judy was playing Tracer sometimes, and switching over to Sniper's playing Tracer, and players need to pick roles, they need to pick a theme, they need to figure out what their strengths are, instead of trying to put band-aids on all their holes in their play and in their drafting repeatedly, band-aiding Judy's tank problem, band-aiding you know, the fact that they don't have a strong drafter in their team, so they're kind of like, well, what if we did that crazy cheese strat? I want to see real improvement based on strong, like, themes. Like someone needs to step and be like, I'm the leader. This is where we're taking this team. This is what we're gonna do. You need to practice this instead of. It feels like everyone's practicing on their own almost. And they're just coming together with no plan, and it shows in the drafting.
Yep, and on the sheet it says Gunza's doing the drafting and the shot calling together. Who's actually the newest member into the scene? We have the old players like Jaeon Sniper and also H82 who used to do some drafting for back in Tempest. So I think that's where all the teams are falling. Of course, if you're doing shot calling and all the other stuff, it's a lot harder for you to actually focus onto the game because you have to be thinking ahead and talk for for your team. But having the newest player doing all that, I think that really
is he listed as that?
as Gunza. We call it. It's written as banner and call out.
We talked about his competitive history with League of Legends and his high mechanical skill that we've seen on DPS players, or on DPS heroes, excuse me, like Junkrat, which is of course globally banned today, sadly for him. Then he moved into playing Anubarak and had some incredible moments, but still didn't fully understand like the limitations of the tank, which we saw a few times today with ETC. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot that this team can do if they change their playstyle just a little bit more. And you know, he's the shot caller. He has a lot of experience, but everyone else on the team has more Heroes of the Storm experience than he does by like a large margin. That's surprising to me. It could just be that, again, this is just like what we have on our sheet, which is what the writer made for us to show us.
But they change all the roles all the time, so we never know exactly who's going to be the ban pick and the shot caller.
Exactly.
But they have to choose something over. That was the last match of part number 1, and they have some time to gather themselves, of course. I think that's the reason they're not going to the Eastern Clash. They lost a lot because of those changes. They couldn't really keep it up. I think they should have stayed in their old roles, like Judy being on ETC Garrosh oftentimes, which I think was a lot better than Gunza's ETC.
Yeah, I mean,
we saw today.
Think about let's think about something for a second. Like, what's easier? You're a main tank player. You've been a main tank player for your entire career. Talking about Judy. What's easier? Improve your hero pool or learn DPS and then have someone else who's never played competitive heroes until this season play tank, who's never played tank before when you have played nothing but tank. It seems easier to just increase the hero pool. Now and this is something obviously, if you guys have been watching HGC Korea since 2017, Jacob and I have harped on Miracle's problems with their hero pools, their problems with their position swaps. They're a fantastic team mechanically. They always have been. In fact, so much so they went to the finals of Gold Club World Championship in 2016. But I feel like Jigov and I both feel they handicapped themselves because of these decisions, which is why I know it sounds like we're broken records today. It feels like we're being harsh, but I feel like you and I have cast this team forever. In fact, the first time you ever cast Heroes with me and you and Busan, where they played their opening match.
Yeah, they actually defeated Tempest 3-1 there.
Yeah, and we've cast them forever, and it feels like a disappointment that they've just never been able to grow, despite being one of the longest standing teams in this tournament.
Yeah, that's why we see lots of those mistakes once again in the highlight, as we're going to have KSV Black interviewed very soon, but they're destroying Miracle here, as they had lots of disengaged tools. This was one of the better ones, better fights at the end. Still, after a long fight, KSV Black taking the game.
Let's watch the Kocha swaps, whichever ones they get to show us.
This one's actually a Miracle win. Yeah. They chased down pretty well.
Yeah, Rich was too aggressive. Sake gets pulsed, survives, but no way out of there. Now look at that max range swap, just one of few. Stunning into the root, and also trying to push him into the immortal stun. No way out of there for H82. Stim Drone is going to help do some damage here to Kocha, but there was no way out of the fight after that. Pretty one-sided, but we are going to have Sake as our MVP. I completely agree with this. Is Malfurion on point. G-Club is going to translate the interview. Take it away.
And it's been a while, Sake, since you were on the MVP interview. But you're supposed to be the one who's doing the interview all the time. That's right, but I don't want to be on the screen too much, but I was called out to be the interviewer many times. Did you watch the previous interview with Hankano? Oh, it was really bad. He's still not at the level yet. Of course, let's have a better interview with O-Prime. And of course, you're here because your Malfurion play. And your entangling root
내가 지금까지 알고 있었던 스킬이 아니다. 어떻게 이렇게 바로바로
was actually
가능하냐,
almost
이런
a
얘기가
target
있는데
skill today.
어떻게 해야 그렇게 되는 거죠?
How are you so good? Give us some tips.
그냥 같은 팀 탱커 TT 선수의 포지션을 보고
I just look at
선수가 쓸 것
where
같다
our
라고 생각을
tank
먼저
player's
한
position
다음에
is, where TT
쓰는구나,
SST
쓰는 거
is,
보고 이제 바로
and then I kind of know what he's trying to do, and then I just react to it.
간단하게 그냥 잘 맞추면 된다.
It's simple. You just have to target it, right?
탱커 잘 따까리 하면 되는 것 같아요.
Yeah, you just have to
잘 따라서
you just have to support your tank. That's all you have to do.
포지션 변경을 이제 확실하게 사케 선수가 메인 지원가로서 가게 되는 건데
Asake, you're transitioning into more of a support role for the team now.
지금 투탱 메타
How's it working out?
이기 때문에 저희가
What's the
투탱이
double
항상
tank
약했어요.
meta right now?
작년에도 그렇고 재작년에도 그렇고 그래가지고
What's a big
선수가
change?
그렇게
We
탱커를
changed a
못하는
lot
편은 아닌데
last year and also 2 years
섞이기는
ago.
아깝고 교차 선수가 좀 더 안정적인
I thought I thought Gyoja was a lot more of a stable tank compared.
코치님이랑 그 리치 선수가 와가지고 포지션 이렇게 바꾸 보면 어떻겠냐 해가지고
And our coach and Rich came to us and we had a discussion about changing this positioning.
마인드로 하다 보니까 바꾸게 된 것 같아요.
And I think that's the reason why, and because it fits the meta and hero pool better, I think that's why we made this change.
네, 딱 디그니타스의 제일리아 선수도 바꿔가지고 잘했기 때문에
Even
또 잘할 수 있다.
Zelia from Dignitas had the position change,
예전에 개인 방송에서
and he was also pretty good. So I think I could do the same.
그런 변화가 할 수 있다 뭐 이런 얘기도 했었는데 오늘 딱 그런 말이 어울리는 그런 장면이었던 것 같습니다. 그리고 개인적으로 이건 궁금한 건데요. 마지막에 그 영화의 전쟁터에서 뱀픽에서 그레이메인이
And a
들어갔잖아요.
personal question: your last pick was Greymane on BOE.
혹시 메디브도 얘기 나왔나요?
Were you thinking about Medivh at all?
아,
그 뱀픽 좀 꼬인 것 같고 이거 어렵게 진행될 것 같다라는 말이 있긴 있었어요. 근데
Well, we were saying that our ban pick was kind of messed up in a way, and I think they knew that Medivh might come out.
그럼 그레이메인까지 골라.
So we thought Medivh was not the perfect one.
그런 장면들 굉장히 인상 깊었고 그 이스턴 클래식 가기 전에 이 재정비를 하는 경기가 오늘 딱 됐어요.
Of course, this was
개인적으로
a changed
어느 정도 만족하셨어요?
form of KSV Black before Eastern Clash. How satisfied are you after the
리치랑
match?
리셋 뒷라인 호흡은 되게 잘 맞는 것 같고 저만 잘하면
The
될것
reset
같아요.
Rich,
오늘
the
좀
back line, I think their
아쉬웠던
teamwork is
부분이
really good. I think I just
개인적으로
have to
좀
step up a little bit.
그 부분만 좀잘
I do have some
채워가면은
disappointments
이스턴 우승할
and
수
things to
있을 것
change in my
오늘
games.
굉장히 잘한 것 같은데 그래도 아쉬운 장면.
I thought you're really good, but you're still
예를 들어
having
거미형
disappointments.
같은 경우 그 상대가 성광풍을 썼는데 TTS 선수가 ETC 퍼슬라이드로 이제 그거를 무시하고 이제 거기서 춤을 했는데 제가 거기서 얼방으로 광풍을 씻고
Well, I was gusted in, and if I had the ice block, I think it really could have saved TTSD from diving in to protect me with the power slide and the mosh pit.
하고 있는 사케 선수이기도 하고 그 팬분들에게
Those kind of things I think I can
마지막으로
work on a little bit more
한마디
as a support now.
대만 저번에
Of course.
져가지고 좀
The last questions,
억울했는데
last
이번에
question to the
가가지고
fans.
많이 노력해가지고 우승할 수 있도록 노력하겠습니다.
Of course, last time we were not the
인터뷰 감사합니다.
winner
감사합니다.
네,
in the
저는
Eastern Clash, but
게스트로
still, I
돌아가도록
think
하겠습니다.
going to Taiwan, I think we're gonna have a fun time going there.
So here are our standings, guys. Our final standings for part 1.